Welcome to NET Vaper Reviews. Today's review is a mouse-to-long RTA that is so unique in so many ways, and I waited for a very long time to arrive. And this is the Bishop mouse-to-long RTA. This is designed by the Vaping Gentleman Club, an Italian company, produced by Ambition Mods. When an Italian company does some kind of collaboration with a Chinese company manufacturing, the end result is a very interesting combo. We all know the Ambition Mod, side by side, also designed by Italian, and of course the Aspire Mix. Elegant, functional, and very nice mods. When it comes to mouse-to-long RTA, you need a lot of experience to stand out on the excellent mouse-to-long RTAs that we had in 2020. And if you watched my best of 2020, you know I have quite a few good mouse-to-long RTAs. This tank, the Bishop mouse-to-long RTA, is so unique in so many ways. The wicking, the airflow, the whole concept of how you change, well, it's a bit similar to the Purity mouse-to-long RTA, the Purity Plus, but it's different as well. How you open your deck, how you take it's very unique mouse-to-long RTA, very unique tank indeed. The end result, well, we'll talk about it after the build and wick section. But one thing I can tell you, this is superb. And silent. If you could hear the draw, I'll be very surprised. Listen to this. If not for the slight crackling of the coil, the core Clapton coil that I've got in here, you wouldn't hear the draw at all. It's silent. And it works, these pins over here on either side, and we'll talk about it of course after the build and wick. So let's go first to the build and wick section, and then you'll understand a lot more of the various components that I want to talk about and why I'm so impressed with this mouse-to-long RTA. So let's have a closer look at the Bishop mouse-to-long RTA, designed by the Vaping Gentleman Club and produced by Ambition Mods. Now we all know Ambition Mods by the side-by-sides, So it's designed by an Italian company, produced by Ambition Mods. I waited ages for this, and finally I got it. I'm very excited to review this one. It's very unique in many ways, as you will see yourself in a minute. Right, so here's the tank, and it came as well with a manual. So let's just have a look quickly on the size. This is not in English. Where's the English? Doesn't make a difference what language. Here we go. The innovative shapes and features of the deck guide the user in the build, leaving no room for errors. The cotton sledges also work as an alignment guide for the coil jig while acting as a shaping device for the cotton, which will be easily accommodated and positioned for optimal juice feeding and air circulation. I hope you can see this clearly. Two walls act both as a reservoir for dirty condensation and being directly positioned below the air intake, increasing air vortex around the coil. We'll go through it in a minute. Now you get, we'll go through the air pins in a second as well. Let's just have a look at the size. It's a 22 millimeter by 44, well, minus the 4 mil. So it's 50 millimeter height, 38 grams weight. So you get them in 2 millimeter and 4 millimeter. I got mine in 4 millimeter. Yeah. So let's go through it now. This is a very interesting tank indeed. In here you get air pins and a screwdriver. Okay, we're not going to use this now, the screwdriver. Now you get here 1 millimeter air pin, 8 millimeter air pin, 0.8, and a blind air pin to close one of them. Now the air pin, the airflow is over here. These two pins, you can push them out, I'll show you in a minute, and you can put in any of this, the 1 or the 0.8 or 1, you can put it as completely sealed and have just one opening. In here is a 1.2 millimeter. Now this is protruding nicely, so you could use it in a mech mod, hybrid if you want. Bishop, mouse to long RTA, 5.2. Look at this, quite a lot of tanks sold. So we're going to use for this review the 1.2 millimeter air pins. That's already comes as installed, but you get all this included and a bunch of O-rings and 2 extra screws as well. So let's put this aside. I'll put it back in the box. Now this tank you get as well as spare glass. Yep, that's very kind of them. Put this here, and now we'll need the coil master, because the way you expose your deck is very interesting. You just lift it. Now I put VG on these O-rings, so it was so quick. I'll show you again. It's like an RDA in a way. Yeah. Now, in order to understand this mechanism, let's unscrew the top bit. Now, this is a bottom feeder, like the Sputnik and like the Kefron Light. And the Sputnik was a smaller gap between the chimney and the glass. Now, you'll notice the chimney is very similar to the chimney of the Sputnik, but this is much wider. This is a different design, but the chimney itself is very similar, and you can take this off and then you can see it even better. Yeah, so this is all the components basically, right? So let's put this back and let's have a look at this cap. Now if you notice, there's 2 holes here. Now these act as juice flows, and these are positioned exactly over, if you notice, you can only put it in one way, so if you turn it until it clicks in, then you notice that it's right, these holes are just over where your wick is going to be. The coil is here, and your juice flow will go right on top of your wick. Now there's no wick channels, there's no wicking ports. You just lay your wick straight, and that's what we're going to do now. Now the dome is very interesting. You got these you see here how it's fixed. Now to take out these airflow, you just push it out and it just comes out. That's it. So this is your pin. Now this is a 1.2. So you can put in here a 0.8 or 1 millimeter, or block this off totally with the one that's blind, where you call blind. And that's it. Here's your ear pin done. Yeah. Interesting design. Now to put in your coil it took me a bit how to work it out, but when you read the what we just said, that they built a deck for hassle-free coil building, you realize exactly what they mean. You put your coiling tool, yeah, on top of right over here, yep, and then you just put on either leg of the coil around the screws, yeah, and just tighten. That's it. Easy as that. Just have to make sure that this is tied in. And that's it. Your coil is done. So this is specifically designed to make your life easy. I'm just gonna open this one because I don't think this is in properly. Yeah, it's in now. I'm just gonna tie it around the screw. So you just make sure that you pull your coiling legs underneath. That's it, it's in. So what you've got here now, I'll cut off these things, the sticking bits, but so your coil is basically flush with these wicking, wicking, I don't know what to call them. They're not wicking ports, they're wicking channels, I suppose. The wick channel. Yeah, very interesting. Let me just get this, and now we'll just give this a fire just to make sure that we are okay with the coil. Lovely. Let's see the ohms. Yeah, 0.95, but don't forget that sometimes when you put your wick, it would sort of settle. And this is a 1 ohm coil. So you can freeze the screen, you can see what it is from Nature Vape. Good coils indeed. Now, let's give this a wick it. So to wick it is the easiest thing as possible. You just feed it in, and just cut your wick. At the end, yeah, of these. Same here. You just rest your scissors on top of the deck. Now, what we've got here now is the wick. You keep them fluffy and you just leave it. That's it. That's it. You just leave it as it is. So it's resting on top of this here, the coil where the cotton has to go. I think I might even cut it a bit more flush. That's it. So here's this is done. I mean, I'm going very slow now, so enable you to see exactly what I'm doing. But this is basically built. So now I'm going to use, I've got in my Sputnik the Caribbean cream from Juice Cavern. So I want to see if the flavor here is as good. This is not as expensive as the Sputnik, but this is the beauty of this tank. Apparently, I think they claim it's the best flavor mouse to long RTA without a high-end price tag. So it'll be interesting to find out if that's the case. Just make sure they're exactly the same size. So you see how the coil is exactly in the middle, and you have to keep these wicks fluffy. Give them a moisten a bit and just put on the cap. Now, in order for you to put the cap the right way is just turning it gently until it falls into place. So now we can see how this works. See the juice well, the holes here, yeah, would feed the cotton directly. See? Exactly above it. Now, we'll fill up the tank. So let's move this aside. This should be a 4 ml. Obviously, you don't fill up above the chimney. So I'm going to stop here. And now what you do is you simply screw on the base. That's it. The tank is done. Yeah. Everything is in right. Yeah, if I put my both fingers on these two, it is completely no air at all. Right, let's put it on the mod. We'll put it on the Aspire Paradox. I think this will look stunning. I've got another mod in mind. We'll do that on top. I mean, just look at this. Nice. You tell me what you think. Let's see what it comes up as. Wattage, ohms. Switch this on. .9. Maybe I'll fire it. It would change the wattage. 16 watts. Well, I must tell you, the flavor is superb. But the airflow, I might need to change the pins. 1 minute. It's not as tight as I thought it would be. I might have to change the pins, but that's no problem. Let me just make sure the ohms. It's a very nice draw, very nice, silent. I mean, you can see how you can hear how silent it is. You only hear the crackling of the coil, but the flavor. Let me try the Sputnik. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change. I'm going to change now the air pins. You know what? I'm going to do this soon because I want to test this now for a few days. I don't want to take too much time. So I'm going to change the pins to, now this is in here 1.2. I think I will use the 1mm. I just need it just that little bit tighter. It's still a mouth to long, tight mouth to long, but I just like the same. I want it to be the same draw. Although here's a 1.2mm plate in here, but for some reason it's a bit tighter. Maybe it's because the different design of the wicking, the coil and the wick block a bit the airflow. So that's, I think, what the reason is here. So here, because of the wick is not blocking anything, so you're getting the full airflow from these pins. So what you need to do is to take them out. So I'm going to do it soon, and then when I finish this review, my 1mm will be in, or the 0.8. I think the 1mm will be tight enough, but then we'll talk about it on top a bit more. But for now, this is the build and wick of the Bishop mouth-to-long RTA by the Gentleman Club and designed by Ambition Mods. I think it looks superb on this mod. What do you think? Superb. And the flavor. Wow. 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 And you shouldn't get any burnt taste. This wicks like a champ apparently, but we'll test it now for the next day or two. And I'll finish off this review, but I am very, very excited about this tank, and I'm very happy to review it, to bring it to your attention. Superb. Okay, for you it'll be just 1 more second. For me it'll be a day or two to try it out further. See you in a second. Right, so now we can talk about this excellent mouth-to-long RTA in more detail up top and go through it. Since the build and wick, I've been using this for a few days. I changed the 1.2 air pins to the 1mm. Yeah. To the 1mm, and inside here I've got the 1.2. The draw is perfect, and to change the pins is so easy. I forgot to show it on the build and wick section. You simply lift this up. Yeah, you can see your pins. You just push it out and put in whatever you want. Put it back in. To change your wick, if you're naturally extracted tobacco vapor, you want to change your wick the way I showed it below. You finished everything, the juice is completely secure. Just put it down like you do with an RDA. That's it. It is simplicity, but it is absolute genius the way this system works. The wicking is amazing. It never experienced a burnt flavor. No gurgling. You know, a lot of RTAs, when you undo the deck, you get a vacuum problem. Sometimes it causes gurgling, it causes leaking. In this tank, never happened. It just picked up where you left it. Perfect draw. The most silent draw in all my mouth-to-lung RTAs, including the Kfon light with the Aerocon pin. Listen to this. Even my Sputnik. Amazing. This is absolute silent compared to the Pioneer. This is so noisy suddenly. What they've done with this airflow, you have to read. I do recommend you to go on ambitionmods.com. Just read what they wrote about the airflow. I read you some on the manual. They've got all this information. So I read you the section where the wicking is to do with the wicking, and they call it the sledges, the wicking sledges. But when it comes to the airflow, it says like this: project specifications were to achieve high turbulence inside the chamber to enhance flavor while keeping a silent laminar intake and exhaust. I love it the way they translate Chinese to English. This goal was reached after several tests by implementing two opposite air intake pins in a large but low evaporation chamber, allowing a massive vapor production while controlling temperature. The air pins set guarantees high degree of customization, allowing every kind of vapor to reach its ideal draw experience. A bit of interesting flow of English, but what it basically means that they managed to achieve an airflow that is, in my book, a benchmark for what means a silent mouth-to-lung draw. I never heard a tank that is more silent than this one. Eerily silent. If I had a round wire coil in here that wouldn't do this crackling that the fuse coil is doing, you wouldn't hear a thing. Complete silent. Now this tank is ideal for naturally extracted tobacco. Obviously the flavor of every liquid will taste great here, but for those who need to change their wick often, the Purity had a similar mechanism, but you had to align the deck, to those arrows if you have the Purity Plus, and you pull it out. Similar. It's similar to an RDTA and RDA, but in a mouth-to-lung RTA form that is simply so easy. I mean, let's assume I want to change now my wick. I don't have to unscrew the whole tank off. I just lift, change my wick, and the juice flow that those two little holes that are opposite the coil just get sealed off and no juice leaks out. And another thing, if you can see these holes here on the deck that I forgot to mention on the build and wick, apparently those what they call the two well. I'll just read you what it says. The two wells set both as reservoir for dirty condensation. What they mean is when the wick oversaturates, it leaks into these two holes and eventually it evaporates. So it keeps the coil fresh and clean without too much excess of liquid. But the genius method here with the wicking, that it just wicks brilliantly. I mean, I have been chain vaping this. I've done everything I can to get not a dry hit, but a sort of a burnt flavor. No way. It's just wicks and wicks and wicks. It's amazing. Now, when it comes to the flavor is, let's put it this way. If I would have received this tank in end of 2020, and I would have compared it to my other mouth-to-lung RTAs, it would have gone into the group, straight up, of the group of these 4 tanks. The K-Fon Light, the Sputnik, and the Spire, and the Expomizer V4, that group, those excellent mouth-to-lung RTAs of 2020. The flavor is superb, well defined. I would not go into versus what. I'll just say that the flavor is exactly the way I tasted on all those tanks I just mentioned. It is, I'm so impressed with this tank in so many ways. It's innovative. The airflow with the pins, and the way they describe it, that the air goes in with high velocity into the deck and chambered into this thin chimney. You're getting the flavor of your juice the way it should. It's just, I'm very, very impressed with this tank. I don't want to sound over, I'm very impressed. Yep. Now, when you talk about high-end tanks, define what means. Let's define what means high-end. Not all high-end means expensive. Not all expensive tanks are good or so good. I'll give you the perfect example. The it was supposed to be mouth-to-lung RTA. It's excellent and direct-to-lung. I would say it's nearly equivalent to the Teflon GT4. I use it all the time direct to lung on a lower ohm coil, loads of cotton. But as a mouth to lung, no. And that is considered high-end. And that is also an example how European company had a collaboration with a Chinese manufacturer. So this is a very good match, I must say. But when it comes to high-end that you pay a fortune, I mean, the Sputnik, €96. The K-Fon Prime that I haven't got here at this moment is nearly €100. The K-Fon Light with the pin, is also around €70-80. Those are high-end, expensive, and very good. So, but when you talk about high-end quality with a mid-budget to a bit higher budget price, it's a winner. And you can get this tank on the Vaping Gentleman Club for, have I got it open here, the website? No, but you can get it for €49. And for those who live in the UK, you have to pay extra €20 for shipment. So €69 for this tank is a bargain. I don't want to give them any ideas, but I think the fact that the Sputnik was manufactured in Switzerland and the K-Fon is manufactured in Germany, that is why the price is so high. when you take a knowledgeable Italian designer like the Vaping Gentleman Club, and if it would have been manufactured in Italy, you would have paid a high price for it. But because it's manufactured in China, it's reduced. That's the only explanation I've got why this is only 49 euros and not 60, 70 euros. If you put in Google this tank, the Bishop mouth-to-lung RTA, primarily only Italian companies are selling it. It's not so easy to find. Some of them are, for instance, I wanted the stainless steel. Some of them are sold out to stainless steel, but still going black. Now this comes in 2mm and 4mm, and they're both the same price. So obviously it makes sense to buy the 4mm version if it's the same price. And those are not so easy to find, but you could, I mean, I think the Vaping Gentleman Club have got the stainless steel in stock, the 4mm, last time I checked. But I'm sure they'll get it back in stock. But it's not so many reviews in English on this tank. The only most of the reviews are in Italian. Now there is one reviewer that I enjoy watching. I watched his review on it, and his name is Sasha 2. That's what it's called himself. He is a very he gives the review in a very Italian fashion, but I enjoy his review. But that's the only one I found in English. Everyone else is in Italian. So I hope this review would help those who don't speak Italian. But I must tell you that I am so impressed with this tank. Now, Italians are very much into the tobacco. So when an Italian company designs an RTA mouth-to-lung, his primer goal is for tobacco vapors, NET vapors, tobacco vapors. Yeah, but tobacco is only naturally extracted, right? This is ideal for naturally extracted tobacco. The fact that you can change your wick so easy, and you don't have to worry about how to wick it. You don't have to worry about the juice wells, how to put it too thin, too thick, too long, too short. This is the simplest way how to build a deck. You saw how simple it is. You just align your coiling tool on those sledges, and the coil is already in the center. You just have to pin down those screws, and then you just put the wick on those sledges, cut them on either side, just leave it there. Moisten a bit, and that's it. I mean, how easy could this be? Yeah, I mean, how easy? It can't find any easier wicking method than this one. And when you put it back, it's 2 seconds. I mean, it's in. And you start vaping. No gurgling, no spit back, nothing. It just carries on. Time and again I've tried this to see maybe the juice flow will dry up something. It just works. I mean, those two holes that above, I think it says a 1.1 millimeter juice hole that is right above the coil, as you've seen below. It just does the job superb. So let's go through a few specs before we finish this review. I'll put everything below in any case. So it's a 22 by 44 millimeter for the 2mm. So this is a 22 by 50 for the 4mm. Material stainless steel 316 PC FKM, 1.1 millimeter juice hole. Unique wicking method that we've seen. Super silent draw that you could hear it yourself. Nothing. Quick access deck for quick build and change of cotton, as we've seen now. Much quicker than the Purity. I think. I mean, you don't have to align it, you just pull it out and put it back. Double opposing airflow for enhanced flavor. Yeah, 2 1.1 millimeter dripping juice feeding system directly to the cotton. I hope you don't hear the noise. Someone's drilling downstairs. 2 recesses in the base to catch condensate and liquid residue that I've showed you. Those are the 2 holes here that they keep the cotton fresh, apparently. Almost leak-proof tank principle. You can see below as well, we went through the air pins. You've got a 2 air pins with inner diameter of 0.6, 0.8, 1 and 1.2. Now I've got the 1 millimeter, the 0.8 and the 1.2 is, right, again I'm getting confused. The 0.2 is this one here. Inside here is the 1 millimeter. And then if you want to get it even tighter, you put in here what they call the blind air pin. So you only got 1. If I put my finger on top of this, it is tight like a cigarette. And this is on the 1 millimeter. If you put the 0.8 with 1 blocked, you can't get it tighter than that. There's no way. Bottom fill design, as you've seen, if you want to fill up your tank. So, I mean, it's very, very easy. You can do it even while it's on the mod. Fill up your juice. You can put in a fairly big bottle in here. And when you finish, you just screw this back down. Screw it back up, obviously. Easy. And no gurgling at all. Silent and smooth, like has never touched the deck. It's just, I'm simply amazed by this system. Simply amazed. Transparent PC tank for visible e-liquid. I like this bit of a smoky, and you get a spare one that is completely clear. I didn't think I mentioned that also below. So you can put a completely clear glass. I just like this because it goes very well with my Aspire Paradox. It just looks so elegant together. Italian design kit. Replaceable 510 drip tip. They can just pull this out and put any drip tip you want. I find this very comfortable indeed. I'll put all the settings below. I do recommend you should go on an Ambition Mod website just to see the work involved and how they explain it all. But I am a man of proof. I see the tank, I use it, I give you my experience. And my experience, the Bishop mouth-to-long RTA, if it was in 2020, they would have come up to my top mouth-to-long RTAs without shredded of a doubt. It's just perfect. In the flavor, in the draw, in the ease of coil and wick, in the design. I mean, there's no branding on it. It's nice. There's no branding at all. If you didn't know what tank this is, you never know what tank this is. It just looks great in the silver. They've gone in black and stainless steel. What else could I tell you? Super, super impressed with this tank. Super impressed. The fact that it's quieter than my top, than the Kayfon Light with the Aerocon. By the way, this mod is the Jelly Box Mini that I will review. Very nice. It's got a bit of lighting in it. You can see the board. I think this review will come up the next week or two, something like that. Love it. 21700, up to 27 millimeter tank you can put on it. This wouldn't look so elegant on it. This is 22 millimeter. This looks perfect on my Aspire. It would look good if you're ready. If one of you would want to know how it looks on a side-by-side from Ambition Mods, the same company, also designed by Italian. So I'll show you quickly. So I guess we'll finish off this review. Very nice as well. Yeah, so this was the review on the Bishop Mouse Too Long RTA. If I'm already showing you, I might as well show you how it looks on the Aspire Mix. Stunning. I like it on the Paradox. Just looks so elegant. Okay, to sum up this Mouse Too Long RTA, most impressed on this unique design. The quality is high-end quality. Take my word for it. It's built so well. The Pioneer the build quality is much less. It's equivalent build quality to, I would say, to the Vaper. Near enough. And to the Sputnik, yeah. It's not so many components as you've seen below. It's easy to clean. You can take it all apart, put it together. Everything just works seemingly here. It's just a joy to vape. And the flavor is top. I mean, I've got in here the Caribbean cream from Juice Cabin, and it just tastes delicious, just like it tastes on my Sputnik. Delicious. For tobacco liquids, naturally extracted, very recommended. Very recommended. But any juice you vape on, it will taste good. Okay, I think I already spoke. I overdone it maybe, I hope not. I hope I didn't overdo it, but I'm so impressed with this tank that I had to make sure that I can deliver my experience with it, and I must tell you, super impressed. Super impressed. Okay. I hope that you enjoyed this review and it was beneficial to you. If you have this tank, I would love to hear your experience with it. And if you do buy it, I hope you can find them. Put in Google and you'll see a few Italian companies who have them in stock, maybe Swiss companies as well. There's one Italian company called My Cigarette, I think it's called, that they don't deliver, they don't ship to UK. That one thing I did notice. I checked to see they haven't got UK on the states of shipment. I phoned them up, and broken English, I gathered that they don't ship it to UK. Maybe because of the Brexit, that now we separated from the EU, I'm not sure. But the Vaping Gentleman Club have got it, and just Google search it. Mostly recommended. Top Mouse Too Long RTA. Okay. Until the next review, enjoy your vape, take care, bye-bye for now.